Hello, I'm Brother Tyler from the Book of Mormon Scripture Challenge. Now, if you've watched my program before, you know that I like to prove the word that's being taught today with the scriptures. Back in the very beginning of 2020, I put out my very first conference prediction video, making predictions for the April 2020 conference, in which I felt like we would see a lot of the church pushing towards us getting to know the other versions of the first vision and other important features of the church history during that time. Now, a year since I first put out my prediction video, I find myself putting out my predictions a little bit sooner than I had planned. And that's partially because this last month has been crazy, especially last week with the riot that took place at the Capitol. Now, many of you probably just want to hear my predictions and go, so let me go ahead and give those to you now. First, they're going to focus on modern prophets. Second, they're going to focus on personal revelation. And third, they're going to focus on how God uses adversity to bring to pass his purposes. Now, if you were wondering why I would bring up those 3 points as the focuses of April 2021's conference, let me go ahead and do some explaining. First of all, over the last month, we have seen some serious reactions that have happened within the church. First of them taking place a month ago, in December, when the church put out a statement saying that it is Christ-like to wear masks. The immediate response of members in the church was negative. Lots of people started making cries against Elder Runland for having made such a video. And many people were crying out any sort of conspiracy, whether true or not. Now, that reaction was kind of interesting to see, the overall negative reaction from something that came from the apostles. However, only a month later, we then got the most crazy reactions that ever happened. There was a riot at the Capitol where the Capitol was seized by protesters. Now, this was more of a political thing. However, there was a flag flying that had the title of liberty on it, and there were people who broke in who have been confirmed to be LDS. Now, I don't want to get political here. However, Elder Oaks did say, we peacefully accept the results. This statement of acceptance of whatever the results may be is shocking to some, but there's another statement that I think will help you understand what was meant there. Elder Oak said that we have the opportunity and the duty to persist peacefully until the next election. Now, sometimes elections don't go with the way we want them. This time, there was the great suspicion of voter fraud, which drove a lot of us to anger. However, these two events are showing a trend in which we are seeing that the people do not want to behave the way the church is encouraging. And with the lack of behavior control, I feel that the church is going to make a step in a certain direction. Now, I hope it is in the right direction. However, I feel that the church is going to make a step in reinforcing both thought and emotion on the importance of prophets in these days, the importance of this being the only true church, and other topics that will help the leaders of the church emphasize the importance of modern-day prophets. Now, the church has been very strong on its information control. As you can see in April of 2020, when they presented the first vision, it was very focused on the 1838 version of the first vision account. Now, in my general conference preparation of that year, I spent the time looking at all the different versions and showing the important lessons that we can learn from each of them. However, the church decided to emphasize the 1838 account, which helps us emphasize in principles such as this being the only true church and that it is restored on the earth. This teaching, absent from the 1832 and 1835 accounts, was emphasized strongly during conference at that time. Even the new proclamation heavily focuses on principles found in 1838, which are absent before then. We have seen how opposition to decisions the church has made has caused changes, such as the November policy of 2015, which only 3 years later was revoked. And a lot of this has to do with the fact that there was conversation. Lots of members expressed their feelings about it. there were lots of responses. Just like there were lots of responses with the masks, as well as there was a visual response with this most recent riot. Visual responses such as the responses to the being Christ-like by wearing masks can be seen by the church, and the church will take in consideration of those things. Now, do all of them need to be revoked because the people don't like it? No, no. However, it is important for us to have conversation about all things. I think it's important that our prayers and that our comments are directed towards the church to help the church grow and progress in the direction it needs to go. The church has made wonderful leaps and bounds in transparency over the years, putting out the Gospel Topics essays, publishing the Joseph Smith papers, so many wonderful resources for us as members to be able to have access to the history that for many years was hidden from us. However, it is still not being talked about, and conversation is important. We need to have conversations about these things. The leaders of the church have two decisions. They can either encourage conversation between us, the members, so to help us to learn and to grow from the mistakes and the successes of the church in the past, or the church can continue to try to exercise authority and the path of control, in which they will continue to control information and thought in the members of the church by encouraging certain behavioral patterns to encourage us to think certain ways. I hope that the church encourages open conversation. I have wanted open conversation and have strived to achieve that with my channel. Open conversation will lead to growth. However, the pursuit to keep us in order and have control will only cause the church to divide and fall apart. This is not the age for seeking control. The church should look for opportunities to help each of us as members to become educated and to think about these problems that we may have and to be able to have open conversation about them. Though I feel and believe that the leaders of the church will emphasize modern prophets and personal revelation, I hope that they do open doors that have not been opened in conference before, that have only been used for devotionals to encourage thought and growth. If you'd like to look at any of my videos regarding the first vision in early church history, you can look at my playlist for conference preparation of April of 2020, which is episodes 32 to 50. If you'd like to look at my more recent episodes that focus on the council in heaven or the character of God, please check out those playlists as well. Please keep seeking Christ and remember to question everything. Until next time.